Jess, we've talked a lot about INE, and the reason we did that was because it was for INE that you really were recognised in 2022. But I gathered from what you were saying that you probably have a sense that INE is getting to the point where it can't cope with much more tourism. So what's the strategy? How are you going to spread what you've done there, what you've learned there, I assume? How are you going to spread that to benefit other parts of the region and make sure that slow tourism remains possible?
Yeah, thank you for asking that. What we are trying to do is actually take the model that we used for INE and apply that to other areas in our region. Because it's not just the numbers of the tourism numbers. So for example, in INE, what we're trying to do is create a shift of the type of tourism that's coming in. So from focusing on numbers to quality. So quality meaning customers, visitors who respect the area and want to learn and understand the culture. And that's what we want for the whole region. And so it's not just about trying to get people to come to, a farm stay, but the right type of person to come to a farm stay. Because I think the people in the areas would much rather have less visitors, but people that care about what they're seeing and what they're doing. And that works the same with our artisans, because one thing that is important to understand is that the artisans in our area, the weavers, the swordsmiths, the paper makers, their main business isn't tourism. They're working with us because they care about what they're doing and they want to share it with people. But tourism making money isn't their goal. And so, as a destination management organization, it's our job to help potentially limit those numbers, but also to help find the right type of customers.
So, I mean, one simple way of understanding that is to say you're trying to go back to that hope we all had that tourism would be based on hosts and guests, where there's mutual respect between the guest and the host. And to make that happen at the level of a destination is quite a big challenge. What do you think are the main hurdles in doing that, Jess?
There's a few. I mean, one would be, working with the right partners. Finding, for example, travel agents. Travel agents are quite good to work with because, they're managing the visitors that come through as well, especially if you're having this conversation with them. When you market to just individual travelers, through social media, I mean, some very good things can come of it. It can help generate interest in an area, but you also have no control over the visitors that are coming potentially. And so, by presenting this message in this way, we can hopefully try to encourage the right type of people to come to the area.
And by right type of people, you mean the kind of people who will not cause conflict in the village and who will appreciate it and enrich the destination partly through their own experience, but also by the way they behave as temporary residents.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. We want people to feel like temporary residents in a town, not like they're just passing through. One thing to remember about uh it's kind of like a life statement in general, but like we often compartmentalize our lives and we view tourism as this break from our life, but you're still breathing and living and your heart's still beating when you're on vacation. So to feel like you're kind of immersed in that, it's part of your life, I think is a interesting way to look at it.
One of the problems, I think, Jess, and I don't know to what extent you come across this in Japan, but the sense people have that they spent a lot of money on that flight, they've paid a tour operator and a hotel, that they've paid good money for this, and there's a sense of entitlement that it's their holiday, their experience, it's theirs. And that can lead to some pretty appalling behavior, particularly in places which are over visited. Do you have that problem in the region that you work with?
um well, I couldn't say no definitively, but I will say that the people that we work with, the operators that we work with, and the guests that have come to our area are very respectful. And it's not a matter of how much money these people have, or, you know, what kind of background they come from. I think that if they feel welcomed in an area, then your attitude changes. And, you know, maybe when you're, before you've gone on the trip and you're working with a travel agent and you're seeing the money that you've put in, you have these expectations. And ideally, those expectations will be met. But I think when you're actually in a village or a situation where you're getting to meet someone, another person, another human, and connect with them, I think that sense of entitlement sort of drops away, and you can just be in the experience that you're in. That might be a little bit of ideal thinking, but we do notice that, you know, people across all walks of life enjoy our area, and I think it has to do with the connections that they're able to make with other people.
I'm sure that's true. Thanks for your time, Jess.
Thank
Much
you.
appreciated.